For centuries, one question has haunted countless minds. What's the fastest way to get rich? Most people spend their entire lives chasing this answer, but the truth has always been right in front of them, hidden in plain sight. The wealthy don't want you to know it because if you did, you'd stop playing their game and start building your own. Here's the reality. Riches don't go to the smartest person in the room, nor the hardest worker. If that were true, teachers, nurses, and construction workers would be billionaires. No, the real wealth goes to those who understand power and know how to convert it into money. Niccolo Machiavelli, the mastermind behind The Prince, made this clear centuries ago. He taught that money flows to those who can control others, manipulate situations, and spot opportunities long before anyone else. Now here's the hard truth. Most people will never get rich. Not because they lack ability, but because they're trapped in the wrong mindset. They believe money comes from playing it safe, working a steady job for 40 years, or saving every penny. Machiavelli would laugh at that. He'd say, wealth comes from bold moves, from knowing when to risk everything, and from having the guts to do what others fear. So if you want the fastest path to riches, remember this. Safe is slow. Bold is fast. The man who dares to do what others won't, he is the one who climbs the ladder the quickest. Think about it. When you see someone rise to wealth, it almost always looks sudden. One year they're unknown, and the next they're everywhere, running companies, making headlines, living in mansions. But here's the trick. Their rise wasn't magic. It was strategy. They use principles that are as old as war itself. And today, I'm going to break those principles down for you Machiavelli style so you can see the path for yourself. Let's start with the common mistake that keeps people poor. Most people believe wealth comes from working harder. They think if they put in more hours, if they hustle nonstop, they'll eventually break through. But here's the sad truth. Hard work alone keeps you trapped. Look around. The hardest workers in society often earn the least. Why? Because their effort is being sold to someone else. They are trading time for money while the rich are trading ideas and influence for money. Machiavelli would say, the man who works for another is always a servant. The man who makes others work for him is always a master. That's the key difference, and that's why the masses stay broke. They keep looking for money in the wrong place. They sell their labor instead of building leverage. So, what's the power principle here? It's simple. Control creates wealth. If you want to get rich fast, you need to put yourself in a position where your decisions move money, not your muscles. The rich don't just work. They position themselves at the top of a system. They own, they lead, they influence. Let me break it down with psychology. Why does this work? Because humans are wired to follow leaders, not equals. When you show certainty, confidence, and the ability to take bold action, people rally around you. They give you their time, their energy, even their money. And once you control that flow, you can multiply it quickly. That's why building power and influence is 10 times faster than just working hard. Now let's talk about the consequence of doing it the wrong way. If you choose the slow path, if you choose to play it safe, you trap yourself in a game you can't win. Imagine working for 40 years only to retire with barely enough to survive. That's not wealth. That's slavery with a smile. And the worst part, you've given the best years of your life to building someone else's fortune. People who stay in that trap always ask, why them and not me? They see the rich rising and think it's luck. But it's not luck, it's design. It's Machiavellian design. The rich set up the game so that every move you make builds their empire, not yours. And if you don't wake up, you'll keep building palaces for kings while living in a cage yourself. So what's the alternative? The alternative is to think like a prince, not a servant. Instead of asking, how can I make money? Ask, how can I build power? Because power attracts money like a magnet. When you control attention, when you control resources, when you control opportunities, the money comes rushing in and it comes fast. Look at business empires. Look at political dynasties. Look at the people who dominate industries. None of them got there by working harder than everyone else. They got there by seizing control, by walking into arenas where most people are too scared to play, and by moving decisively when the moment was right. Here are some practical tactics to move faster. Build leverage, not labor. Stop thinking like a worker and start thinking like an owner. Ownership is the fastest escalator to wealth. This could mean owning a business, owning attention online, or owning assets that grow without your constant effort. Be bold in your moves. Machiavelli said, "Fortune favors the bold." If you see an opportunity, don't wait for perfect timing. Move. Most people drown in hesitation. The fast movers are the ones who seize the prize. Control perception. Wealth is often built on reputation. If people see you as powerful, smart, and unshakable, they'll trust you, follow you, and invest in you. That's how leaders multiply riches. Cut the dead weight. Don't waste years proving yourself in places that can't reward you. If your environment is a cage, walk out. Find arenas where power is up for grabs and play to win. When you use these tactics, something amazing happens. Others start chasing you. They sense your power, your boldness, your ability to create opportunities. Suddenly, doors that were once locked open up. Investors call you. Customers line up. Partners beg to work with you. And that shift from you chasing money to money chasing you is the moment you begin to rise quickly. But let me warn you, the rise is not for the faint of heart. When you play the game of fast wealth, you will be tested. People will envy you. They will doubt you. They will try to block your path. But Machiavelli teaches us that this resistance is proof of your power. If no one is trying to stop you, it means you're not moving fast enough or bold enough. Now, let's go deeper. For those who want to master this at an advanced level, here's a truth most people will never hear. Sometimes the fastest way to get rich is not just to build, but to take. Look at history. Many great fortunes were made not by creating something new, but by seizing what already existed. Whether it's buying out competitors, dominating a market, or claiming resources others ignored, the boldest moves often come from capturing, not just creating. The world is filled with untapped opportunities, waiting for someone with the courage to claim them. But the average person never sees them because they are too busy working, too busy obeying, too busy playing safe. And that's why they never rise. So if you want the fastest path to riches, remember this. You must stop being a servant and start being a strategist. Your mind must become sharper than your hands. Your courage must become louder than your fears. And your moves must be bolder than the people around you. That's what separates the rich from the rest. Once you master this, once you stop chasing money and start building power, you become unforgettable. People can't ignore you. Opportunities can't pass you by. Money starts flowing into your life at a speed that looks unreal to those still stuck in the old game. They'll call you lucky. They'll call you ruthless. But you'll know the truth. You played the game the way it was meant to be played. Machiavelli's way. And that, my friend, is the fastest way to get rich, so now you know the truth. Speed and wealth doesn't come from working harder, but from thinking sharper and moving bolder. But the question remains, what exact steps can you take right now to start this journey? How can you go from where you are today, maybe broke or stuck, to climbing fast into real wealth? Let's break it down in Machiavellian terms. The first step is to understand where you are in the game. Most people don't even know what game they're playing. They think life is about getting by, paying bills, maybe saving a little. That's not a game. It's a prison. If you want to get rich, you must first admit to yourself, I've been playing the wrong game. The poor play survival. The rich play domination. And the rules are completely different. In survival mode, your goal is to last. In domination mode, your goal is to expand. The person who survives will never become rich because survival makes you timid. It makes you afraid of loss. But the person who plays for expansion, who is willing to risk, to fight, to push, that person has the engine for wealth. Machiavelli once said that fortune is like a woman. It rewards the bold, the aggressive, the one who dares to act. What does that mean for you? It means if you want to move fast, you can't tiptoe your way to wealth. You must strike. You must move with force even if you don't have everything figured out. Here's the common mistake that kills speed: waiting for perfect timing. People say, I'll start when I have more money, when I have more time, when the economy is better. That waiting becomes a trap. they end up waiting forever. The rich don't wait. They strike. They move while others hesitate. And because of that, they grab opportunities before anyone else even sees them. Think about it. When a new market opens up, who gets rich? The first movers. When a trend explodes, who gets the wealth? The ones who acted early, not the ones who sat around thinking about it. If you want the fastest path to wealth, your speed of decision must be faster than the average man's doubt. Now, let's look at the psychology behind this. Why does boldness create riches? Because money follows certainty. People are drawn to leaders who act with conviction. Even if you don't have all the answers, if you project certainty and move with courage, others will trust you, invest in you, and follow you. That trust is leverage, and leverage is how you multiply money at lightning speed. But what happens if you ignore this? The consequence is brutal. You become invisible. No one follows you. No one invests in you. No one bets on you. You blend into the crowd of cautious, timid people who play safe and stay broke. Worse, when you finally decide to act, it's too late. The opportunity is gone, already taken by someone who dared while you hesitated. So, what's the alternative? You must rewire your brain to see hesitation as death. Whenever you feel yourself holding back, ask, what would a prince do? What would the man who wants to rise fastest choose? The answer is almost always to act boldly, even if the path is not clear. Let me give you some practical tactics to move faster. Create a bias for action. Stop overthinking. If an idea excites you, test it within 24 hours. Don't wait a week. Don't wait for permission. Move now. Use fear as fuel. Fear doesn't mean stop. Fear means you're on the edge of power. Train yourself to act when fear rises, not retreat. Position yourself in hot arenas. The fastest wealth is always made in fast-changing fields. Technology, media, finance, emerging industries. These are the battlefields where fortunes are built overnight. Don't waste your time in dead industries. Leverage other people's resources. You don't need to own everything to control it. Partnerships, investors, networks. Use other people's money, time, and skills to move faster than you ever could alone. When you apply these, something shifts. Suddenly, instead of chasing crumbs, you're grabbing whole pies. You'll notice people start to see you differently. They sense momentum. They sense that you're not just another dreamer, but a mover. And movers attract riches. Now let's talk about how others react when you adopt this Machiavellian speed. At first, they will laugh at you. They will say you're reckless, crazy, or unrealistic. But when your bold moves start paying off, those same people will flip. They'll say you were lucky. They'll act like they believed in you all along. That's the pattern. First they doubt, then they envy, then they chase. Understand this. Envy is a signal you're rising. When people start whispering about you, criticizing you, trying to pull you down, it means you're moving fast enough to be noticed. If no one envies you, you're invisible. And invisibility is death in the game of wealth. For those who want to play at the advanced level, here's a secret. Speed comes from controlling not just your own moves, but also controlling the moves of others. Think about generals in war. They don't fight every battle themselves. They direct armies. They multiply their power through others. If you want to rise fast, you must do the same. This means you need to learn how to recruit, persuade, and influence people to act in ways that serve your vision. Whether it's employees, partners, or followers online, your ability to control movement through influence will make you unstoppable. And once you master that, you'll move 10 times faster than any lone wolf could. Now, let's imagine the end game. What happens when you move boldly, seize opportunities, and control leverage? You create an empire in record time. You're not scraping by. You're dictating terms. People come to you. They seek your approval, your investment, your guidance. Money becomes a byproduct, not the main goal. And that's the point where riches flood in at a speed most people can't even understand. But remember, this game isn't about money alone. Fast wealth is about power. The money is just proof of your influence. And once you have that influence, you can create more money anytime you want. That's why the rich never fear losing it. They know they can build it back again because they control the levers of power. Stop waiting. Stop doubting. Pick one bold move you've been putting off and do it today. Not tomorrow, not next week. Today. Because wealth doesn't wait for the timid. It flows to the daring. And here's the truth you must burn into your mind. The fastest way to get rich is not to play safe, but to play like a prince. To take bold risks. To seize opportunities before the crowd. To use power, not labor. And to move so quickly that the world has no choice but to notice you. As Machiavelli might whisper if he were here today, fortune belongs to the bold, and the bold do not wait. Now that we've broken down the principles of speed, let's go deeper into the strategies. Because ideas are powerful, but strategies are what turn power into riches. Machiavelli understood that wealth is not just about what you know, it's about how you use that knowledge to bend the world to your will. So, let's talk about the hidden gears that make fast wealth possible. If you look at anyone who has risen quickly from tycoons in business to rulers in history, you'll see the same pattern. They master leverage. Leverage is the art of doing more with less. It's how you make one move and get 10 results. It's how you multiply time, energy, and money. There are 4 main types of leverage that can take you from broke to rich faster than anything else. Money, people, knowledge, and attention. Let's start with money leverage. This is simple. Using other people's money to build your empire. The poor fear debt. The rich weaponize it. The poor say, I can't start until I save enough. The rich say, who can I partner with? Who can I borrow from? Who can I attract to fund this? If you want to get rich fast, you must stop fearing the tool that the wealthy use every single day. Money is a soldier, and if you don't command it, someone else will use it against you. Next is people leverage. Alone, you move slowly. With others, you move at lightning speed. Look at kings, CEOs, or influencers. None of them built their empires alone. They built networks. They rallied armies of followers, employees, or fans who worked, bought, or spread their message. If you can inspire or direct others, you can scale yourself infinitely. This is why leadership is one of the most valuable skills in the world. Then there's knowledge leverage. This doesn't just mean having information. It means knowing what others don't and using it before they catch on. Think about investors who saw opportunities in tech before it exploded. Think about rulers who struck alliances before their enemies even realized the risk. If you want to move fast, you must be ahead of the curve. Learn constantly, but act on what you learn even faster. And finally, attention leverage. This is the secret weapon of the modern world. Attention is money. If you can capture attention through media, through charisma, through influence, you can turn it into wealth at a speed that makes people's heads spin. Why do you think influencers rise so fast? It's because attention can be converted into sales, partnerships, influence, and power. Attention is the currency of speed. Now let's expose the common mistake people make when it comes to leverage. They try to do everything alone. They think, I'll save up myself. I'll learn everything myself. I'll build slowly. That's the mindset of poverty. Machiavelli would call this weakness. The man who insists on moving alone moves like a snail. The man who multiplies his power through others moves like a storm. Here's the psychology behind this. Humans are drawn to strength. When they see someone moving with vision and confidence, they want to join in. That's why leaders who rise fast are never truly alone. They create movements. They give others something to believe in. And those people give their time, money, and loyalty in return. If you want speed, you must learn how to make others feel that being around you benefits them. But what's the consequence if you don't? If you try to do everything alone, you'll burn out. You'll spend years grinding, while someone else uses leverage to pass you in months. You'll watch people younger than you, less skilled than you, rising faster because they understood that leverage beats labor every time. So what's the alternative? Instead of asking, how can I do this? Ask who or what can help me do this faster. That simple shift changes everything. You stop being the worker and start being the commander. You stop moving slow and start multiplying your moves. Let's put this into practical tactics. Use other people's money wisely. Don't fear loans, investments, or partnerships. If the move is bold and calculated, debt can make you rich faster than savings ever will. Build alliances. Don't try to crush everyone around you. Sometimes the fastest rise comes from teaming up with the right people, then outgrowing them later if you must invest in information. Don't just consume content for entertainment. Seek knowledge that gives you an edge. Information is a weapon, and you must arm yourself constantly. Capture attention relentlessly. Post, speak, share, network, whatever it takes. If no one knows your name, no one will pay you. If everyone knows your name, wealth comes running. When you start applying these, people's perception of you changes overnight. Suddenly, you're not just trying, you're moving, you're building, you're multiplying. And because perception creates reality, the world begins to treat you as someone who is rising. That treatment itself opens more doors, creating a snowball effect. But here's something most people don't realize. When you rise fast, you'll also create enemies fast. That's the advanced reality. Machiavelli warned that power attracts resistance. The higher you climb, the more people will want to pull you down. Jealous rivals, bitter ex-friend, even competitors who see you as a threat. They will all appear. And this is where many fast-rising people fail. They can't handle the attacks, so they collapse. If you want to stay fast, you must expect this. You must prepare yourself not just for success, but for envy, betrayal, and sabotage. The strong see these not as problems, but as signs they're on the right path. If you're not making enemies, you're not moving fast enough. Now let's think about the end game. Imagine you've built leverage in money, people, knowledge, and attention. Imagine you've moved boldly, struck quickly, and handled the resistance. Where are you now? You're not just rich, you're untouchable. You've built a fortress around yourself. Others rely on you. Others need you. And when others need you more than you need them, you've won. That's the level Machiavelli admired. Not just the man who had wealth, but the man who had power to keep it, multiply it, and use it to shape the world around him. That's the true endgame. Not just riches, but rule. Stop moving slow. Stop trying to do it all yourself. Identify where you can use leverage right now. Maybe it's finding a partner. Maybe it's asking for an investment. Maybe it's building attention online. Whatever it is, act on it today. Because the difference between moving slow and moving fast is always this boldness and leverage. And remember this, wealth doesn't come to the cautious. It comes to the commanders. And if you want to be rich quickly, you must step into command. Not tomorrow, but now. The fastest way to get rich, according to Machiavelli's lens, is not just about hard work. It's about understanding leverage. Leverage means making small actions that create big results. Think of it like this. A single push on a lever can move a giant rock that you could never lift on your own. Wealth works the same way. Most people push with their bare hands and wonder why nothing moves. The smart ones find the lever. Machiavelli knew that rulers and leaders always looked for tools of leverage. They didn't want to fight battles one by one. They wanted alliances, money, fear, and respect to do the heavy lifting. In today's world, your lever might be technology, systems, or networks. A person who uses a laptop to run a business that reaches millions is using a lever far more powerful than someone trading hours for wages. But here's the key. Leverage only works if you're positioned correctly. Imagine trying to push the wrong end of the lever. It won't work. That's why Machiavelli would tell you, first secure your position, then apply pressure. If you want to get rich fast, you need to place yourself in a field where leverage exists. That's why so many rich people today are in niches like software, finance, or media. Each of these industries lets you scale. One decision, one product, or one piece of content can reach thousands, even millions, without extra effort. Now let's talk about speed. People think getting rich fast means overnight success, but Machiavelli would laugh at that idea. He knew speed comes from preparation meeting opportunity. If you prepare and then act with boldness, you appear to move fast. But behind that fast success are years of sharpening the blade. The person who trains quietly for years and then takes action looks like they exploded out of nowhere. In truth, their preparation made them fast. Another principle is controlling risk while appearing bold. Machiavelli wrote that fortune favors the bold, but he didn't mean reckless. He meant people who take risks in a way that looks dangerous to outsiders, but is actually calculated. Think of an investor who buys into a company before everyone else sees its value. To the crowd, it looks like gambling. To him, it's informed certainty. That's how fortunes are built. Fast. You make moves that others are too scared or too blind to make. Let's be clear, there are only a few ways to get rich quickly that last. You can build or own something that scales massively, control or manage resources that others desperately need, position yourself where opportunity flows, and strike faster than anyone else. Machiavelli knew rulers who got rich fast weren't necessarily the hardest workers. They were the best positioned. They placed themselves where wealth passed through, then collected their share. Think of merchants at crossroads, bankers in times of war, or today's tech founders who sit at the intersection of communication and commerce. But here's the Machiavellian twist. Sometimes the fastest way to get rich is to ride on other people's power and resources. Why build everything from scratch when you can plug into something already working? Machiavelli advised rulers to use alliances, borrow strength, and then outmaneuver their allies when the time was right. In money terms, that means partnerships, investors, or even copying proven business models until you can innovate on your own. Wealth also comes fast when you control attention. Machiavelli believed appearances often mattered more than truth. A leader who appeared powerful was often treated as powerful even if their base was weak. Apply that to money. If you control how people see you, you can attract opportunities faster. Influence, reputation, branding. These pull money towards you because people trust what they perceive. A strong brand can make you rich faster than a strong product. Now let's tackle the harsh truth. Most people will never get rich fast because they don't think like this. They want comfort. They want approval. People crave safety. But as Machiavelli would say, those desires are chains. If you want to build wealth fast, you must think differently. You have to put yourself in uncomfortable positions, take risks others avoid, and act decisively when opportunity knocks. But let's be clear, speed is not the same as recklessness. Getting rich quickly doesn't mean gambling on a lottery ticket. It means creating conditions where money flows to you faster than it does to the average person. Take the investor who gets in early on a rising market. They're not lucky, they're observant and courageous. The entrepreneur who launches at the perfect moment isn't magical, they're prepared and paying attention. Machiavelli said, "Fortune is a woman, and she favors the bold." If you want wealth, you need to move with confidence. Strike when the moment is right and never hesitate, because hesitation kills momentum, and speed requires boldness. So what does this mean for you? If you want to get rich fast, you need 3 things. Position. Put yourself in high-leverage environments where your actions have exponential upside. Perception. Control how others see you. Influence attracts opportunity and money. Precision. When the moment comes, act boldly. No second guessing, just execution. Fast wealth isn't luck, it's architecture. It's built through strategy, leverage, and timing. And Machiavelli's wisdom makes it clear. The ones who rise seemingly overnight are not lucky. They were the ones who engineered the conditions and moved when no one else would. Because the fastest way to get rich isn't chance, it's prepared boldness.